The murmuring forest opens around us in whispers in green light. Weaver walks beside me, her small dragon riding easy on her pack. Somewhere ahead, the listening hull awaits, and without even trying, I am already following what matters. I already know how to return. I already know the feel. One clear step beneath another, one small signal becoming real. I don't need the whole road open, I don't need the distant view. Something in me knows attention, and I can follow what is true. Meets my feet with leaves that whisper overhead. Branches trade 1,000 secrets while the moss gives way beneath my tread. Water moves beyond the timber, somewhere hidden, somewhere near. Every sound could pull me sideways, still one rhythm stays most clear. Weaver walks beside me, smiling, dragon resting on her pack. She watches where my gaze keeps landing, then looks forward down the track. You've been following that bird call since we left the lower stone. I laugh because I hadn't noticed, yet somehow I had always known. Maybe focus isn't something I must wrestle into line. Maybe part of me is listening long before I call it mine. I already know how to return. I can stay with what I choose. I can follow one clear step before me without fearing what I lose. I don't need perfect concentration, I don't need the whole road true. My attention moves where I move, and I can choose what I pursue. A pale green shimmer crosses branches, not a creature, not a flame, just the thread of sudden order running softly through the shade. The glow weaver never enters like a stranger through a door. It appears in how the forest makes one pattern out of more. Ahead the path divides in silence, then curves toward a ridge of stone. Weaver
By midday, the murmuring forest is louder than before, and the trail no longer feels certain. Every branch, bird, and gust of wind asks for attention. But beneath it all, one steady sound keeps moving. If I can stay with that, we may still find the way through.
I can lose the thread and find it again. I don't have to fear where my mind has been. By midday, every branch is speaking. Rainwater drums on hollow wood. Birds answer birds across the valley. Every sound demands I look. The narrow trail becomes uncertain. Roots divide where stones have slid. Wind throws leaves across our footprints, like the forest changed its mind. Weaver stops beside a cedar, listening somewhere through the roar. Which sound has stayed the longest? I close my mouth and search for more. Not the birds and not the branches, not the dragons' restless feet. Underneath them, water moving, keeping one unbroken beat. I don't silence all the others, I don't push them from my mind. I just give one sound my patience and let everything else pass by. I choose what deserves my attention. I let the other signals pass. I can lose the thread and find it. I know how to come back. I listen for what matters. I stay long enough to know. Focus isn't never wandering, it's remembering where to go. We follow water through the timber, though the river stays unseen. Sometimes loud enough to guide us, sometimes barely underneath. Then the earth drops out before us, half the old trail washed away. Mud and broken roots below it, no safe footing straight ahead. But the hidden stream curves eastward, I can hear it through the stone. We move sideways through the bracken, following its steady tone. Minutes later, we find high ground, and the old trail rises clear. Weaver taps my shoulder lightly. Good thing you kept listening here. Every sound was real around me, every sound deserved to be. But attention isn't fairness, it is choosing what I need. I choose what deserves my attention. I let the other signals pass. I can lose the thread and find it. I know how to come back. I listen for what matters. I stay long enough to know. Focus isn't never wandering, it's remembering
The trail clears, then suddenly becomes too open. One path becomes 5, then 10, then more, each one bright with its own invitation. Some promise beauty, some speed, some wonder, and every one of them wants to be chosen.
Every road can call my name, that doesn't make it mine. Every lake can catch my eyes, I still decide. One path glows with silver lanterns, one is lined with crimson flowers. One carries laughter through the branches, one promises a shorter hour. One smells faintly like warm bread, one reflects a golden sky. One has footprints fresh before us, one has something moving by. I take the brightest without thinking, then another cuts across. A bell rings somewhere to my left, and suddenly the first is lost. Weaver follows without stopping me, lets me choose and choose again, until the trees no longer seem familiar, and I don't know where we've been. They're all interesting, Weaver tells me, looking calmly through the maze. That doesn't make them yours. The sentence cuts through everything. I don't have to follow every signal, I don't have to answer every call. I can notice without pursuing, I can choose and let things fall. My attention belongs to me, I decide where it will go. Interesting isn't always important, and I don't owe each road my soul. through the trees. Weaver says my name, I answer. A moment later, she is gone.
Then the forest disappears into fog, and Weaver's voice comes back from every direction at once. Nothing is clear, and every echo demands a quick decision. If I rush, I could follow the wrong signal. If I stop and listen, something real may still remain.
I can think beneath the noise. I can pause before I choose. I don't need the loudest answer. I need what I can use. Fog closes like a curtain, white against the bark. Every tree becomes another. Every trail dissolves to dark. Weaver, my voice goes outward. Weaver, 5 replies return. One sounds close, one sounds frightened. One says hurry, one says turn. I take 3 running footsteps, then I stop myself halfway. Every voice wants instant action. That is exactly why I stay. Breathe, listen, what remains when urgency is stripped away? Footprints slope, the rivers pull. Small things still have something to say. I can stay with the next useful thing. I can think beneath the noise. I trust what careful attention shows me. I can pause before I choose. I find the pattern piece by piece. I don't need the whole design. My attention serves my choice, and I can trust what I can find. Her boot prints vanish near a pine tree, but the needles bend downhill. The stream from earlier lies westward, and the air grows colder still. One voice keeps shouting from the valley, far too clean and far too near. But Weaver's dragon wears a small brass buckle. When it moves, I hear a tiny scrape beneath the echoes. 3 soft clicks against a stone. Not a voice designed to lure me. Something physical, something known. I follow that instead of shouting. Count my steps and mark the grade. Then the fog breaks at a ravine edge. Weaver stands across the way. She looks relieved but doesn't praise me, doesn't turn it into lore. She simply grins across the distance. There you are, and nothing more. I can stay with the next useful thing. I can think beneath the noise. I trust what careful attention shows me. I can pause before I choose. I find the pattern piece by piece. I don't need the whole design. My attention serves seems clear.
Beyond the ravine, the forest feels different. Nothing has gone silent, and nothing has become simple. But now the world no longer pulls me in every direction. Step by step, attention begins to feel less like effort and more like the way I move.
I can be open without wandering. I can be steady without strain. I give attention room to breathe, and it returns to me again. What I practice becomes familiar. What I use becomes my ground. Focus doesn't make the world smaller. It helps me know what's here right now. The fog is gone, but not the forest. There are still 1,000 things. Silver insects cross the sunlight. Distant animals call and sing. Weaver starts explaining something, then the little dragon sneezes. Usually I'd laugh and lose the sentence. Now I laugh and still receive it. She pauses. You heard me? Every word. That makes her laugh again. We keep walking toward the hollow where the cliffs begin to bend. I don't tighten around attention. I don't grip it till it breaks. I'll let it settle where I place it and return when something shakes. I can be open without wandering. I can be steady without strain. I give attention room to breathe, and it returns to me again. What I practice becomes familiar. What I use becomes my ground. Focus doesn't make the world smaller. It helps me know what's here right now. At a bridge of woven branches, I notice one support is split. We take the smaller stones below it instead of trusting what looks quick. At a clearing, lights start pulsing, 3 bright sequences through the air. I stop long enough to see the rhythm and find the hidden trail from there. Later Weaver drops a buckle, doesn't notice where it fell. I remember one small flash behind us near a root beside the dell. Nothing here feels monumental. No monster falls, no kingdom saved. But every moment proves attention can become the way I behave. The forest isn't getting simpler. I am getting more at ease. There is room for many signals without surrendering my keys. I can be open without wandering. I can be steady without strain. I give attention room to breathe, and it returns to me again. What I practice becomes familiar. What I use becomes my ground. Focus doesn't make the world smaller. It helps me know what's here right now. Light begins to thread the branches, not leading, not commanding, just revealing how the pieces were already understanding. Wind, water, footsteps, voices, each can occupy its place. Attention is not a narrow tunnel. It is space with chosen shape. not.
At the edge of the listening hollow, Weaver stops. She has walked beside me this far, but the last stretch is mine alone. The forest still speaks, and the road ahead is not guaranteed. But now I carry something with me that I know how to trust.
My attention walks with me. I know how to return. The road does not stay simple, but I know what I have learned. Weaver waits beneath the branches where the hollow starts to rise. Different roads from here, she tells me, no concern inside her eyes. I expect some final wisdom, some mysterious closing phrase. She adjusts the dragon's harness, then she says, you'll be okay. I laugh, that's all, that's all. She waves and takes the lower trail. I turn toward the hollow entrance where the wind begins to wail. For a moment I can feel it, the old urge to check behind. Then my breathing finds my footsteps and the road becomes mine. My attention walks with me. I know how to return. I choose where I place my focus. I stay long enough to learn. I can wander without losing myself. I can pause and start again. I carry clarity forward. I trust the place. The tension lives within. Inside the hollow, voices gather, fragments bouncing from the stone. Half a song, a distant footstep, someone laughing far below. I notice each without pursuing, keep the center of my pace. Then a blue-winged bird flies past me, and I watch it for a space. My thoughts follow for a moment, then I smile and bring them home. No correction, no frustration, no demand that they stay sewn. The path climbs toward an opening, morning light beyond the wall. Focus doesn't mean I never wander, it means wandering isn't all. I already knew how to return when this journey first began. Now I know that I will return because I've watched myself do it again. My attention walks with me. I know how to return. I choose where I place my focus. I stay long enough to learn. I can wander without losing myself. I can pause and start again. I carry clarity forward. I trust the place. Attention lives within. No glowing crown, no perfect mind, no final state. I have to find the forest murmurs. Life moves through, attention shifts, and I choose to. There will be louder rooms than this, more voices asking me to turn, but I don't need a silent world. I know how to return. My attention walks with me. I know I will return. I choose where I place my focus. I trust what practice helped me learn. I can wander without losing myself. I can pause and start again. I carry clarity forward. This is how attention lives within. My and choose my next step.